Question 1. As illustrated by a recent safety audit, Mr. Johnson was assigned to install a rooftop HVACR unit on a windy afternoon. While setting up, he noticed that the temporary guardrail system provided by another crew had missing sections. His supervisor insisted that the job proceed quickly to avoid delays. What is the most appropriate course of action for Mr. Johnson? A. Proceed with caution and use only his personal fall arrest harness. B. Refuse to work until the guardrail system is corrected. C. Secure himself to the ladder instead of relying on the guardrails. D. Continue the job but work only in the center of the roof. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA Standards 29 CFR 1926.501 require complete fall protection whenever working at heights above 6 feet. Continuing with only a harness is unsafe without proper anchor points, as incomplete guardrails create a systemic hazard. Securing to a ladder does not meet requirements and may compromise ladder stability. Staying in the roof center does not eliminate fall, since unexpected movement could occur. Refusing to work until guardrails are restored ensures compliance and prioritizes worker safety in line with OSHA's hierarchy of controls. Question 2. When considering the inspection of a fall arrest harness, Ramirez noticed slight fraying on the stitching of the dorsal D-ring attachment. The harness had otherwise passed all previous checks. How should she proceed? A. Apply electrical tape over the frayed area to strengthen it. B. Continue using it as the fraying does not affect performance. C. Immediately remove it from service and tag it as defective. D. Use it only as backup while requesting a replacement. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. ANSI requires immediate removal of PPE if there is any visible damage such as fraying, cuts or burns on stitching. Continuing to use or taping the fray masks the defect but compromises integrity, especially under dynamic loads. Using it as backup still exposes workers to unacceptable risks. Only removing it from service and tagging it defective ensures it cannot be mistakenly reused, aligning with best practices in hazard elimination and personal protection protocols. Question 3. With respect to ladder safety, Mr. Cheng is preparing to access a 12-foot platform using a portable extension ladder. He places it at a 70-degree angle, ensuring 3 feet of extension above the landing. However, he considers tying it off at only the top. What adjustment is most critical to improve safety? A. Widening the angle closer to 60 degrees. B. Securing both the top and bottom of the ladder. C. Using a step ladder instead of an extension ladder. D. Positioning the ladder with only 2 feet above the landing. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA's 4.1 ladder rule ensures stability, but securing of both top and bottom is essential to prevent slippage from base movement or environmental conditions. Widening to 60 degrees increases tip-over hazards, while reducing the extension to 2 feet violates minimum extension requirements. Using step ladder is not always feasible for platform access. Anchoring both ends ensures compliance with ladder safety standards and reduces fall risks during ascent, descent, and work positioning. Question 4. From the perspective of electrical safety, Mr. Patel needs to service an HVAC unit with exposed wiring on a rooftop. He knows the circuit should be de-energized, but the lockout gut devices are missing from the kit. What is his safest decision? A. De-energize the circuit and proceed without lockout gut. B. Ask a coworker to monitor the breaker while he works. C. Delay the task until proper lockout gut devices are available. D. Cover the exposed wiring with insulating tape before working. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. OSHA 29 CFR 1910.333 requires lockout gut for servicing energized equipment. Proceeding without lockout gut or using coworker monitoring introduces uncontrolled risk. Covering exposed wires with tape is insufficient, as circuits can still be re-energized accidentally. Delaying work until proper lockout gut devices are obtained is the only compliant and safe, as it establishes positive control over energy sources and ensures that no one can inadvertently restore power while maintenance is performed. Question 5. Given the circumstances of refrigerant handling, a technician named Flores is tasked with recovering refrigerant from an older R22 system. She considers venting the small residual charge because recovery equipment setup seems time-consuming. What should she do? A. Vent the refrigerant since it is a small amount. B. Use recovery equipment to capture all refrigerant. C. Flush the system with nitrogen instead of recovery. D. Recover only part of the charge and vent the rest. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. EPA Section 608 strictly prohibits venting refrigerants regardless of volume due to ozone depletion potential and environmental harm. Venting even a small charge is illegal. Flushing with nitrogen does not address refrigerant removal and may push residual refrigerant into the atmosphere. Partial recovery followed by venting is also non-compliant. Only using certified recovery equipment to capture the entire refrigerant charge ensures compliance, protects the environment, and aligns with EPA enforcement standards. Question 6. By comparing different PPE applications, HRConquer must decide on protective gear for cutting sheet metal near refrigerant piping. Which choice best reflects required PPE selection? A. Safety glasses and cotton gloves only. B. Full face shield, cut-resistant gloves and long sleeves. C. Welding helmet and leather apron. D. Earplugs and chemical-resistant gloves only. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Cutting sheet metal introduces flying debris and sharp edge hazards. Safety glasses and cotton gloves offer minimal protection, while a welding helmet and apron are excessive and inappropriate for this task. Earplugs and chemical-resistant gloves do not mitigate cut or hazards. The correct PPE combination. Face shield for eye face protection, cut-resistant gloves and long sleeves. Directly addresses physical risks, aligning with OSHA EPE standards for mechanical hazards in HVACR work. Question 7. Despite the fact that rooftop unit servicing is routine, Mr. Lewis noticed his crew frequently leaves tools scattered near roof edges. What is the greatest risk posed by this behavior? A. Increased wear on tools from weather exposure. B. Reduced efficiency due to misplacing tools. C. Elevated chance of tools falling and striking individuals below. D. Risk of workers tripping and damaging equipment. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Tools near roof edges primarily pose a fallen object hazard, which can seriously injure individuals below. While weather exposure and misplacement affect productivity, they do not pose immediate severe safety risks. Trip hazards are present, but the greater regulatory concern under OSHA's fall protection and dropped object prevention rules is the potential of striking someone below. Controlling tools with tethering. Organized storage is essential for rooftop safety. Question 8. When analyzing confined space entry, is Daniels prepares to service ductwork inside a large plenum chamber. Oxygen levels are measured at 18%. How should she proceed? A. Enter with a harness and lanyard but no ventilation. B. Delay entry until proper ventilation restores safe oxygen levels. C. Enter quickly with a gas monitor for reassurance. D. Rely on a coworker stationed at the entry to monitor visually. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA defines safe oxygen levels in confined spaces as between 19.5% and 23.5%. At 18%, the atmosphere is oxygen deficient and hazardous to life. Entering without ventilation, relying only on monitoring or visual observation does not mitigate asphyxiation risk. Only delaying entry until ventilation corrects oxygen concentration ensures compliance and worker survival. Proper confined space entry requires continuous monitoring, ventilation, rescue planning, and adherence to a written permit program. Question 9. Across different scenarios of troubleshooting rooftop units, Mr. Ahmed considers bypassing the safety interlock on a blower motor to diagnose short cycling. What is the best practice? A. Bypass the interlock temporarily to complete the diagnosis. B. Replace the interlock without testing. C. Use manufacturer's diagnostic procedures without bypassing safety features. D. Disconnect power while observing motor response. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Safety interlocks are critical protective devices. Bypassing them, even temporarily, defeats their purpose and introduces severe hazards. Replacing without testing could waste resources or overlook other issues. Disconnecting power prevents observation of operation. Manufacturer diagnostic guidelines provide safe, controlled methods without compromising safety. This ensures both accurate troubleshooting and compliance. Industry safety standards, aligning with NFPA 7i and OSHA regulations on electrical safety work practices. Question 10. In the modern context of rooftop safety, Mr. White must anchor his fall arrest system. He considers several anchorage points: a rooftop vent pipe, a temporary ballast block, structural steel beams, and an air conditioning condenser frame. Which is the correct choice? A. Rooftop vent pipe. B. Temporary ballast block. C. Structural steel beams. D. Condenser frame. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. OSHA and ANSI standards require anchorage points to withstand 5,000 pounds per worker. Vent pipes and condenser frames are not structural and cannot handle fall arrest loads. Ballast blocks are unreliable since they can shift under force. Structural steel beams, when rated and inspected, meet strength requirements and provide the safest option. Selecting proper anchorage is essential for ensuring that faller systems function as intended, preventing catastrophic failures during falls. Question 11. The primary reason for conducting a pre-task safety briefing is to identify risks before work begins. Mr. Thompson's crew is preparing to service an air handler in mechanical room with overhead piping, limited space, and temporary scaffolding. Which factors should be emphasized first during the briefing? A. The need for clear access paths and hazard recognition. B. The speed of completing the task to minimize downtime. C. The temperature control sequence of the air handler. D. The importance of tool availability for efficiency. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Pre-task briefings center on hazard identification and mitigation. Clear access paths and recognition of overhead and tripping hazards address immediate safety risks. Prioritizing speed undermines safe planning. Focusing on control sequences or tool availability pertains to task execution but not life safety. OSHA's emphasis on job hazard analysis underscores that early recognition of risks, such as overhead piping and scaffold safety, forms the foundation for fall prevention and incident reduction. Question 12. In light of recent developments, Mr. Alvarez prepares to transport refrigerant cylinders to a rooftop. He considers carrying them up an extension ladder by hand to save time. What is the safest alternative? A. Carry one cylinder at a time while maintaining 3 points of contact. B. Use a rope and pulley system or mechanical lift for the cylinders. C. Secure the cylinders on his tool belt for balance. D. Ask a coworker to hand up the cylinders while he stabilizes. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA and EPA handling guidelines require safe transport methods for pressurized cylinders. Carrying them by hand compromises ladder safety and 3-point contact. Securing on a tool belt is unsafe due to weight imbalance and cylinder instability. Handing up cylinders increases risk of dropping from height. Only mechanical lifting or rope and pulley systems ensure secure transport while maintaining ladder and fall protection standards, preventing accidents that could lead to severe injuries or cylinder rupture. Question 13. The fundamental question is how to ensure stability when working on sloped roofs during HVACR maintenance. Is cartos assigned to service a heat pump on a pitched surface? Which measure is most effective for fall prevention? A. Wearing non-slip footwear with no additional protection. B. Using roof brackets or scaffolding platforms for stability. C. Working only on dry days to minimize slipping risk. D. Carrying lighter tools to maintain better balance. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. While non-slip footwear helps, it cannot prevent falls on steep surfaces. Choosing only dry days reduces hazard probability but does not eliminate risk. Carrying lighter tools does not address the primary fall hazard. OSHA requires physical fall prevention measures on sloped roofs with roof brackets or scaffolding providing stable platforms. These create safe footing and align with best practices, ensuring that workers are protected from unintentional slides or loss of balance. Question 14. With the advent of building automation systems, Mr. Singh is tasked with troubleshooting a rooftop economizer damper. He considers overriding safety interlocks to test sequences more quickly. What should he do instead? A. Override interlocks temporarily with caution. B. Disconnect power while observing damper movement. C. Use BAS diagnostic tools and manufacturer-approved procedures. D. Ask a coworker to manually hold the damper open. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Overriding interlocks compromises system and worker safety, potentially disabling protective features. Disconnecting power prevents functional testing, while asking a coworker to hold the damper is unsafe. Manufacturer diagnostic tools and BAS interface allow safe testing within design parameters. Following documented procedures ensures troubleshooting accuracy without bypassing safety mechanisms consistent. NFPA 7 and OSHA rules on electrical and mechanical system safety. Question 15. Examining the consequences of improper anchor selection is to green notices. A coworker attaching a lanyard to a rooftop vent stack. What is the safest response? A. Ignore it since the coworker is using fall protection. B. Allow it if the vent stack appears structurally sound. C. Stop the coworker and redirect to a rated anchorage point. D. Recommend using 2 vent stacks for extra security. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Vent stacks are not rated anchor points and may fail under load, creating catastrophic fall hazards. Ignoring or permitting this practice violates OSHA and ANSI standards requiring 5,000 lb capacity anchorages. Using 2 stacks does not increase capacity and creates false security. The only correct action is intervening to stop misuse and ensuring connection to a rated structural anchor point, system integrity and worker safety. Question 16. Taking into account confined space safety is how it is preparing to service ducting inside a crawl space with limited ventilation. Gas monitor readings are normal, but she notices standing water near electrical conduits. What is the best action? A. Enter carefully, ensuring her PPE is secured. B. Delay entry until the water is removed or conduits protected. C. Step over the water cautiously to avoid contact. D. Ask a coworker to monitor her from outside while she enters. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Even with safe gas readings, standing water near conduits creates electrical hazards. Entering carefully or stepping over water still exposes her to shock risks. External monitoring without mitigation does not eliminate hazards. OSHA's confined space standards require eliminating hazards before entry. Delaying until the water is drained or electrical sources are insulated ensures compliance and worker safety, aligning with the requirement for hazard elimination before worker exposure. Question 17. Through careful analysis of rooftop service hazards, Brooks needs to choose fall protection for temporary HVAC unit repairs where no permanent anchorages exist. Which solution is most compliant? A. Attaching lanyards to nearby ductwork supports. B. Installing a temporary horizontal lifeline rated for load. C. Securing to weighted ballast blocks placed on the roof. D. Using only a harness without anchorage connection. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA requires fall arrest systems to be anchored to rated points. Ductwork supports and ballast blocks cannot provide reliable load resistance. Wearing a harness without anchorage provides no protection. A properly designed and rated temporary horizontal lifeline meets standards, offering controlled, secure anchorage in environments lacking permanent systems. This aligns with ANSI's standards, ensuring safe rooftop while complying with fall protection regulations. Question 18. Based on the information in OSHA's ladder safety guidelines, Nelson prepares to step from ladder onto scaffold platform. The ladder extends 3 feet above the landing, is tied off at the top but not secured at the bottom. What hazard remains? A. The ladder could shift at the base, causing fall. B. The ladder could be too steep for safe use. C. The extension height is insufficient for safety. D. The tie-off at the top creates excess movement. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Even though the ladder extends adequately and is tied off at the top, failure to secure the base creates instability. OSHA emphasizes securing both top and bottom to prevent slippage. A steep angle or extension height is not the issue here, and tie-off at the top is beneficial, not hazardous. Base slippage remains the unmitigated risk, making securing the ladder base the critical step for safety compliance. Question 19. The effectiveness of fall protection programs depends not only on equipment but also on worker behavior. Reed consistently loosens her harness straps for comfort while working at height. What is the main risk of this habit? A. Increased wear and tear on the harness fabric. B. Reduced effectiveness of energy absorption in a fall. C. Loss of suspension trauma protection during rescue. D. Faster fatigue due to reduced blood circulation. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Loose straps compromise harness fit, allowing excessive movement during a fall. This increases fall distance and impact forces, undermining energy absorption. Fabric wear is not the critical issue, and suspension trauma protection depends more on posture and rescue timing than strap tightness. Blood circulation is affected by overly tight straps, not loose ones. Properly fitted harnesses are essential to transfer rest forces correctly, preventing severe injury. Question 20. Throughout the course of HVACR maintenance, technicians may face customer pressure to bypass safety procedures for quicker completion. Mr. Young's client insists on skipping day PPE checks to save time. What should Mr. Young do? A. Agree temporarily to satisfy the client. B. Proceed but document that the client waived safety checks. C. Refuse and perform PPE inspections as required. D. Allow the crew to decide individually whether to inspect PPE. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. OSHA standards place responsibility on the employer and worker to ensure PPE safety regardless of client pressure. Agreeing or documenting a waiver does not exempt liability or prevent incidents. Leaving the decision to individuals creates inconsistency and increased risk. Only refusing and performing mandatory PPE checks ensures compliance and safety. Ethical obligations and regulatory requirements demand prioritizing worker protection over productivity or client demands. Question 21. During the process of rooftop coil replacement, Mr. Parker considers moving across a wet surface without using any fall protection since the roof pitch appears minimal. What is the safest decision? A. Proceed carefully while keeping to the center of the roof. B. Wait until the roof dries before proceeding. C. Install temporary guardrails or lifeline systems. D. Continue the work but use non-slip footwear. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Minimal slope does not eliminate fall hazards, especially with wet surfaces. Staying in the center or relying on footwear only reduces, but does not control risk. Waiting for the roof to dry addresses slip hazards, but not fall exposure if edges remain unprotected. OSHA requires fall protection at elevations above 6 feet, regardless of slope. Installing guardrails or temporary lifeline systems is the only method that complies with standards while ensuring safe coil replacement. Question 22. To illustrate this point, Lopez prepares to climb a fixed ladder to access a rooftop unit more than 24 feet high. The ladder lacks a cage or ladder safety system. What must she do before proceeding? A. Use a personal fall arrest system attached to a vertical lifeline. B. Ask a coworker to steady the ladder from below. C. Carry only lightweight tools to reduce risk of imbalance. D. Use both hands and climb quickly to minimize exposure. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. OSHA 1910.28 requires fall protection on ladders over 24 feet. A coworker stabilizing or climbing quickly does not mitigate fall hazards. Tool weight reduction is good practice but not sufficient. Only use of a personal fall arrest system with vertical lifeline or ladder safety device ensures compliance, preventing catastrophic falls during ascent or descent. This aligns with ANSI for vertical fall protection requirements. Question 23. Contrary to popular belief, Mr. Kim notices that many technicians think tying off to HVAC unit casings is sufficient anchorage. Why is this practice unsafe? A. Unit casings may corrode and cannot support fall loads. B. They are often not designed to resist 5,000 pounds of force. C. Anchoring they reduces the comfort level of movement. D. It increases the chance of damaging refrigerant piping. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. OSHA requires anchor points capable of withstanding 5,000 pounds per worker. HVAC casings are not structurally designed for this and can collapse under load. Corrosion and piping damage are concerns, but secondary to inadequate load rating. Worker comfort is irrelevant when safety is at stake. Anchoring to structural beams or engineered anchor points is the only compliant and safe method. Question 24. The underlying principle of ladder safety is ensuring stability. Shah placed an extension ladder at the correct 4:1 ratio but failed to secure the top. What risk remains? A. The ladder could shift at the bottom due to worker movement. B. The ladder could slide sideways or tip without top securing. C. The angle could still be incorrect despite the ratio. D. The ladder's weight capacity could be exceeded. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Even with proper angle, unsecured tops allow ladders to slide or shift sideways when workers step on or off at the landing. Bottom shifting is reduced by base angle, but top security prevents lateral movement. Incorrect ratio or weight capacity issues are separate concerns not directly linked to his error. OSHA ladder safety rules emphasize securing both top and bottom to prevent falls. Question 25. In summary of refrigerant safety practices, Grant is tasked with recovering R400 TINA from a system. She considers using a standard vacuum pump instead of recovery equipment. Why is this unacceptable? A. A vacuum pump cannot achieve required pressure levels. B. A vacuum pump vents refrigerant directly to the atmosphere. C. Recovery equipment is faster than a vacuum pump. D. Vacuum pumps are too fragile for refrigerant recovery. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Vacuum pumps are not designed for refrigerant recovery. They expel refrigerant vapors into the atmosphere, violating EPA Section 608 rules. Pressure levels and fragility are secondary. Speed is not relevant compared to compliance and environmental responsibility. Only certified recovery machines ensure refrigerant containment, protecting both technicians and the environment. Question 26. Focusing specifically on confined space protocols, Mr. Davis is about to enter a plenum chamber for duct inspection. He has a harness, gas monitor, and ventilation in place, but no attendant outside. What is missing? A. Written permit authorization. B. Continuous atmospheric testing. C. An attendant to monitor and initiate rescue if needed. D. A lockout device for electrical hazards. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Confined space standards require an attendant to monitor entry, maintain communication, and initiate rescue procedures if needed. A permit and atmospheric testing are vital, but he already has monitoring. Lockout may apply if energized equipment exists, but the immediate deficiency is lack of an attendant. This role is critical to confined space safety under OSHA 1910.146. Question 27. The most significant aspect of dropped object prevention on elevated work sites is controlling unsecured items. Mr. Rivera notices coworkers placing wrenches on ledges near roof edges. What is the best preventive measure? A. Require all tools to be tethered or secured. B. Ensure workers wear hard hats at all times. C. Post warning signs for workers below. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Hard hats protect from impact but do not prevent dropped objects. Warning signs alert workers but do not stop the hazard. Cloth bags near edges can still be dislodged. OSHA's dropped object prevention emphasizes eliminating the hazard by tethering or securing tools, ensuring they cannot fall from elevated surfaces. This proactive measure aligns with ANSI standards for tool tethering systems. Question 20. The contemporary view of fall protection emphasizes the hierarchy of controls. Mr. Allen suggests relying only on PPE for working at height. Why is this insufficient? A. PPE increases fatigue over long tasks. E. PPE only protects after a fall, not before. C. PPE is not cost-effective compared to alternatives. E. PPE makes movement slower and less efficient. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. The hierarchy prioritizes elimination, substitution, and engineering controls before PPE. Fall arrest harnesses protect only after a fall, not by preventing it. Fatigue, efficiency, or cost are considerations, but not fundamental limitations. Relying solely on PPE ignores higher levels of protection such as guardrails or work platforms. OSHA recognizes PPE as last resort, not primary control. Question 29. The interrelationship between PPE and worker behavior often determines safety effectiveness. His walker wears a harness but clips the lanyard below foot level to a vent pipe. What hazard does this create? A. Increased free fall distance beyond system capacity. B. Greater fatigue due to awkward positioning. C. Reduced visibility for coworkers monitoring air. D. Higher likelihood of damaging the vent pipe. Answer. Correct answer. Aid explanation. Anchoring below foot level increases free fall distance, often exceeding deceleration device limits, causing excessive arrest forces and ground impact risk. Fatigue or coworker visibility issues are minor compared to fall dynamics. Vent pipe damage may occur but is secondary to worker safety. OSHA requires anchorage above D-ring level whenever possible to limit free fall to 6 feet or less. Question 30. By evaluating rooftop access hazards, Mr. Morgan considers climbing with both hands full of tools. What is the proper alternative? A. Carry tools in his pockets for convenience. B. Climb with one hand free and balance carefully. C. Use a tool belt or hoist system to transport tools. D. Ask a coworker to pass tools once he is positioned. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. OSHA ladder safety requires 3 points of contact. Carrying tools in pockets affects balance and increases drop risk. Climbing with one hand free still violates safe practice when tools are carried. Passing tools by hand from a coworker risks drops and improper coordination. Using tool belts or mechanical hoists ensures tools are secure and both hands remain available for safe climbing.